What was your damn, you live like this moment? When I was 17, I went to a girl's house. She and her mum were smoking in the room we're in. They proceed to ash on the car part. I must have looked surprised, as the mum said, "Oh, don't worry. It's a rental." Acid dealer's apartment. Maze of trash. Cats. Can't imagine tripping in there. Going to a friend's house and realizing they have a fully stocked fridge and pantry with actual food, not just ramen and frozen pizza. I went to a friend's house that only had one downstairs bathroom. They had piss bottles in their room for when they were too lazy to go for a piss in the middle of the night. 2-liter bottles of piss just laying around their room. Walking into my friend's dorm after they said it was super messy and realizing that it was nothing compared to the mess that was in mine. It was honestly a wake-up call. Girlfriend's apartment was so like a homeless hoarder. I decided right there that she was crazy. She had ripped the carpet out to the raw floor. I'm an HVAC service technician, so I'm in people's houses all the time, every day. All walks of life, from extremely rich on down. I've seen the hoarders and the slobs, but the worst was a house that looked like 6 cats got together to buy a home, then decided to let an old man live with them if he stayed in the corner and put food out. Absolutely disgusting, with cat litter and shit dusted literally through the entire house. I almost left and would have if it wasn't just a case of his coil freezing because the filter was clogged with fur. Felt bad for him, obviously a mental health issue. Buddy just had a baby with some girl just as lazy as mountains in every corner of their apartment. Smelled like one too. He also uses dip tobacco, so there were wads of dip on the carpet and in his bed. I don't talk to him much anymore. My GF now wife visiting me unannounced one day when I was living in my grandmother's basement. It was embarrassing, as it was almost at a hoarder level of mess. I was so ashamed at my situation that I changed. Mostly hitting 30 years together this year, so I did something right. A girl I was dating wanted me to come over to her parents' place. When I walked in, there were boxes of stuff everywhere. I said, "Oh, I didn't know you all just moved in." They had not just moved in. Friend of mine who just doesn't clean up. There was not even one moment. More lots and lots of them. The amount of plates with half-eaten meals in his apartment was baffling. The fact that it was plural already means a lot in my mind. I once saw him put one away in a drawer, just to make some space. Why? Apart from that, he clearly never cleans the toilet, so I don't dare to sit down on it anymore. Also, the seat is broken and repaired with duct tape. No hand soap, no hooks for his towels, they just lie on the edge of the sink or a holder for the toilet paper. No paper towels, no dishcloths. And with all this stuff missing, I keep thinking, why don't you just buy that stuff? Don't you miss it? Kitchen is full of dirty dishes, he only washes stuff up when he needs it. And even then he does a poor job, his glasses are just... I don't know how to describe them, but they just aren't clean. His stovetop is always dirty and so is his fridge. And once, I found some thick splat of sauce or whatever in front of it. Weeks later, when I came by again, it was still there. I just can't get why you wouldn't try to clean that up immediately. I love that dude and we trust each other with a lot, you know. But last time I visited there, after a few years of lockdown, I was so disappointed that he still hadn't gotten better, while on many other levels, he has matured so much. Needless to say, I prefer him to come over to our place. I once had an Arab foreign exchange student friend. She once was complaining that her dad didn't send her tuition fee on time. She was already getting $10K month allowance from her dad, $2K for the apartment she was renting, rest was for food and whatever else she was using it for. He was paying her tuition on top of that. This was around 2014, 2015. I've been a paramedic for 25 years. The things I've seen, I can't unsee. That has nothing to do with any medical emergency, either. Worked on a 50-meter super yacht. It had the most hideous chairs in the dining room, each one cost $55,000. I wouldn't have paid $5 for one, but it really opened my eyes to how the other half live. Realtor here. One time, I went to an older couple's home to answer some listing questions. Place looked immaculate on the inside, it stank beyond belief though. And not any normal smell, imagine mixing gasoline with just a hint of flower-scented air freshener. And it was overpowering. Not a single room in the house was the smell not vomit-inducingly strong. 7 years in real estate, and it is the only listing I have ever had no choice but to make an excuse to leave early. After the retired couple moved out, but before we put the home on the MLS, we hired a home inspector to find the smell. Turns out these people were keeping toxic mold killer in their laundry room. Instructions even specified to keep it outside, that it was too toxic to be kept inside. It may be a miracle those two are even alive. Knowing that where I live a lot of guys work 12 hours, scroll YouTube for some time and sleep, repeat this 7 days a week, yes, 7 days and 12 months a year. This is hell. I'm somewhere close to that situation too, and it's scary. My sister-in-law and her husband lived at her dad's house. They were largely shut-ins and only left the room to eat and go to the bathroom. After a domestic violence incident, he was killed by police suicide by cop, and she was hospitalized for 2-3 months. My wife and father-in-law went into her room for the first time in months, years, to clean it up and make it safe for her to move back when she was discharged. There was stuff on the floor up to your knees in places and mid-calf everywhere else. The room reeked of cigarettes, old food, and BO. There were tons of sex toys, clothes, half-used prescriptions, half-drunk sodas, etc. everywhere. It was insane. Delivered pizzas in my very early 20s in rural NH and around the Massachusetts border in an area that tended to be economically depressed. I saw it all. Houses where I would gag the minute the door opened from the melange of cigarettes, cat piss, dirty dog, old grease, mold, and other less identifiable odors. Garbage everywhere, often bulging garbage bags sitting out in the open that were clearly not new, often with visible holes from rodents. Seas of empties, with every surface covered in cigarette ash and unidentifiable stains and crusts. Yards with knee-high grass filled with trash, broken cars and appliances, dog shit, and sun-bleached toys. Floors that felt disturbingly spongy when I had to step inside, and walls that were sweating from the humidity. This isn't even half of it, by the way. Rural poverty and the diseases of despair that accompany it is a fast path to the naders of the human condition. Went to a party at a friend's girlfriend's house. My friend's family was well off, his girlfriend's though was next level. Huge beachfront house, worth 20 meters plus. My friend took me to the garage to see her dad's cars. It was under the house, had about 10 cars, could have held about 20. Ferrari, Benz, Maserati, Rolls. Fucking unbelievable. I went to this chick's house and opened her fridge, and it was just full of rotting food. She said it was Thanksgiving food she never got rid of and doesn't use the fridge that much. 13 years as an EMT, about every second house I went to,